It's one of the best settings in American soccer. It's the Low Country at Patriots Point as the Charleston Battery hosts Orange County here this evening. Tonight's presenting sponsor is Color World, Charleston's premier residential and commercial painter, with Chris Nurse, Michael Watchering, and our entire team bringing you the action here this evening. In the Eastern Conference, Lou City took a stranglehold on the conference table as well as the overall Players' Shield. Charleston losing last week, but still separating themselves from Tampa Bay. Meanwhile, in the Western Conference, despite a sluggish run of form from Orange County, they're still above the playoff line, sitting in 7th with 28 points, but they need to get things back in form if they want to solidify their postseason spot. Last week for Charleston, it was a tough matchup. They had to come away with the win last week at Lou City, but it was Lou City at home, a fortress for that group. They started it off early, and they never relented. Yeah,
Louisville City have been exceptional this season. I think they secured their status as the league's top team right now with this performance, and a very, very good game from them. Charleston just were not at the races, comfortably defeated.
Battery missed a couple chances in that to tie things up. One of the key players for this group, at least setting the stage for two of the best scorers in the league, is Juan David Torres.
Yeah, and I think in any other team, he's a star player, but with Markanich, Conway, Myers, the way this team has been performing this year, he is often found in the shadows, but so talented, so gifted, attracts the pressure from other defenders, freeing up space for his teammates. Very, very good player.
Orange County has hit the skids a little bit. They haven't won in their last 4. They haven't scored in those last 4. Their last win came July 20th against San Antonio.
Yeah, and I think their defensive woes continue to mount, but on top of that, not being able to score, they lose Iloski, both Iloskis. Going to be a rough night for them tonight. I'm expecting a Charleston dominant victory.
They haven't scored in 362 minutes, so it means the pressure has been on Colin Shuttler, 3rd in the league in saves this season. He will have to keep this game close against one of the best goal-scoring teams in the league.
Yeah, and I think it's always indicative when your goalkeeper becomes your star player. This often means that he's facing a little bit more action than you would have liked, but he's often come up big, so if he can help them keep a clean sheet tonight, they could get something out of this game.
Orange County looks to score a goal and find a win for the first time in over a month, while Charleston look to avoid back-to-back losses for the first time this season. We'll have the starting 11 and the opening kickoff here from Patriots Point when we return.
Charleston is located in the Low Country of South Carolina.
The history here, it runs deep, and you can't imagine being anyplace else. This place is magical.
Take a look at the starting 11 for Charleston, presented by Michelob Ultra. Not a lot of changes here for the Battery this evening. What do you see out of this group, Chris?
Yeah, I expect to probably see Torres a little bit higher as part of that back three, and Allen drop in to the midfield alongside Chapman. But as we spoke about pre-game, Markanic, Torres, Myers isn't in tonight, but the danger that they pose in the attacking third is incredible.
No MD Myers in the starting 11 tonight. One of the best goal scorers in the league. It is Nick Markanic up top for Charleston. Conversely, for Orange County, trying to find a goal scorer here this evening. They've dealt with so many injuries. They have to continuously make changes in the 11, and this is how they line up tonight.
Yeah, I think their 4-1-4-1 formation just allows them to stay in the game and be a little bit more defensively compact and organized, given the run of the form that they're in. I think they're going to have to be very patient against this Charleston attack. I think their success is going to come on the counter-attack, but this is also a very good Charleston defense. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Orange County are able to manipulate this game. Obviously, we spoke about Shuttler in goal. He's going to have to be on his toes tonight against some of the league's best attackers.
East versus West tonight. Teams that are separated by nearly 2,500 miles. Here this evening, taking flight in South Carolina. Orange County and Charleston will face off for the 8th time. Charleston leads with 3 wins. Orange County have never won here on the East Coast against the Battery, while Charleston has rattled off 5 consecutive home wins. They've outscored teams 17-3 in that stretch, and will be a fascinating matchup to watch here tonight. You have the highly potent, excellent Charleston side that averages nearly 3 goals per game here at home, and an Orange County group that has not scored a goal in its last 362 minutes of play. It's the orange kits tonight for Orange County, fittingly. Yellow and black for Charleston Battery. It's great to have you with us this evening on a full slate of action here tonight. In the USL Championship, all 24 teams are in action here this evening. Several in this 7:30 local time window, 4:30 Pacific time. And Chris, what are your keys to this matchup as you watch these two teams? How does Orange County score, and conversely, how does Charleston bounce back?
Yeah, I think for Orange County, the only way they possibly get success out of this game is to keep a clean sheet. I think if they concede a goal, it's going to be a long night and the floodgates will open. For Charleston, on the other hand, the reaction is all about how do they bounce back from the loss against Louisville. Obviously, the two of them have been going toe-to-toe at the top of the table, but Louisville really made a statement in that defeat. They were by far the better team, and Charleston obviously a very good side, but for Louisville to wipe them away so easily, 3-1 in a fairly comfortable game, you might say, for Louisville really made a statement of where they are right now as the league's best team. So Charleston really need a response to the performance last week, the defeat last week, come out fighting, regain the confidence that they have and belief that they have approaching the postseason.
Orange County and Charleston here this evening, ready for action here tonight. Good to have you with us. The 19-year-old Ben Norris will start us off here this evening. Charleston and Orange County underway here in South Carolina tonight. The Battery, a win and 2 draws after its 3 losses this season, while Orange County looked for its first win in over a month. Michael Watchering, Chris Nurse, and our team with you here. It's great to have you with us tonight. Hope you can come in and stay a while with us for this matchup. Charleston was smothered by Lou City early and often. How will Orange County utilize that game film here today? Jay Chapman, one of the changes in the starting 11. Segbers. Excellent pass all the way across. Conway looks for Arturo Rodriguez, and it goes back to Shuttler, who has been a very busy man. 5 or more saves in 3 of his last 4.
Yeah, and I think he might be a busier guy tonight than prior, and I say that because Kyle Scott has been the heartbeat of this team for the last couple of seasons. While he may not get himself on the score sheet and be as fancy as either of the Eloskis, he's the player who connects things through the midfield, does the industrious work, very good in possession of the ball, great technique, and him being suspended tonight, I think, leaves a big hole in leadership, in performance, in how they possess the ball for Orange County, and I just don't see who steps in to replace a player like Kyle Scott, given the season that they're currently having.
Yellow card accumulation is why he's out tonight, plus a multitude of injuries that we'll get into here in just a second.
I think that he's a player that a number of clubs across the league will have their eyes on, and it will just depend on how ambitious he is, whether we see him still wearing orange next season.
Gets a foul whistled here. And it sets up Orange County in a really good spot for a free kick. Let's take a look at tonight's injury report presented by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. We have to go with a bigger graphic for this one. Look at all the players that are hurt for Orange County. 4 of their top 13 players in terms of minutes are out. And then for Charleston, you're also missing Aaron Malloy. He was a key cog to this group, and he will likely be out for an extended window.
Yeah, when you look at that injury list and you look at where Orange County currently are, it kind of speaks for itself. You lose Milan Ilosky. Brian Ilosky actually stepped up pretty well in the early season in terms of creating opportunities for his teammates, his ability to take set pieces, his creativity in possession of the ball, and then you lose Brian to a long-term injury. It kind of leaves holes that are very, very difficult to fill. And you add on top of that, Amang started the season fairly well. Dynamic in behind, scores goals, big problem for defenses, and he's been missing also. Although he is apparently on his way back to fitness shortly, but you can see that injury list really does provide a lot of problems for Orange County.
Free kick for the visitors in this one. Laced in, it takes a ricochet off of an Orange County head and skirts out wide. But nevertheless, winning that ball inside of the 18, something that Orange County have not been able to do frequently enough in their recent run of form.
And this is where they can be dangerous. Set pieces. It's a well-delivered ball. Orange County are the first ones to get onto that ball. This is where they may be able to salvage something out of this game, is getting themselves on the score sheet through set pieces and then defending extremely well as a unit.
Hardiman talked about his group dealing with the injuries that they've had to deal with at this point in the season, understanding how it just doesn't impact the games that those players are without, but also having to reacclimate those players once they get back onto the field.
Yeah, he spoke about, even when they become healthy, it still takes them 2 or 3 games before they actually get themselves back to match fitness. And with just 10 games remaining in the season, it's going to be extremely challenging for those guys to get out there and perform to their maximum, especially without putting themselves at risk of injury again and producing something chronic. So he's very positive, very upbeat. As he said, winners don't quit, but winners also win. So Orange County need to do the winning part whilst they're still out there fighting, still out there competing. They're not quitting. They need to find a way to put 3 points on the table pretty quickly because the table below them is pretty tight.
What a pass this is. Marcanic gets shoved, and it's a penalty. We highlighted the serviceability of Juan David Torres. There's a red card shown as well. Less than 5 minutes in, Orange County potentially falling behind 1-0, as well as being down a man.
I think it's a really silly foul, number one. There's going to be no other outcome in that situation. Marcanic has got him behind. He's going to finish. You push him, give away the penalty kick. However, there is some discrepancy in the rules here. I do believe if the referee awards a penalty kick, that it's supposed to be just a yellow card. It's not supposed to be a penalty kick and the red card. And I think that's what's being contested here, that if he's given the penalty kick, then it should just be a yellow card. But there's no excuse. It's very poor defending in the opening 5 minutes. If it wasn't already going to be a difficult night for Orange County, it just got 10 times more difficult. You're about Carl Scott. You're about to be down to 10 men. If the inevitable happens and they go 1-0 up from the penalty spot, there is a mountain to climb for Orange County for the remainder of this game.
Well, Matthew Corrigan, our center official tonight, has now given out the most penalties in the league. That's the 7th. And the most red cards. That's his 5th in his 11th game. And it is Ryan Dogman that gets shown the red card here in the 5th minute. So he is done. And it will be 11 v 10 the rest of the way.
But it starts with very poor defending. Let's be honest. It's a great ball in behind. The defense gets caught flat. Then in trying to recover, it's a push in the back inside the box. There's only one decision that the referee can give in that moment.
So who else would it be other than the best goal scorer in North America this year? Nick Marcanic closing in on the all-time lead in championship history for goal scoring. Looking to convert at the spot. Nick Marcanic blasts it past Shuttler. Marcanic scores for a 22nd time this year. Battery lead 1-0.
I I think Mark Canick actually counts his lucky stars there. He didn't look that convinced when he struck the penalty kick. Didn't look that confident. Shuttler actually went the right direction. Just a little bit too much power for Shuttler to be able to save it, but Charleston already 1-0 up in the lead in the opening 7 minutes of this game. If I'm Mark Canick, I'm going after the hat-trick.
Mark Canick has now scored in 16 out of 26 matches this season, and in 8 of his last 10. And the team this year is undefeated when he scores.
And it's 25 goals to break the USL Championship record, right? He had to be
correct.
Extremely close to it now.
He's 22, so he's tied for 3rd now all-time in the category, joining Matt Fondy of Lou City in 2015, Solo Asante of Phoenix Rising in 2019, and Orange County's Milan Alaski in 2022.
If you're playing tonight at home against 10 men Orange County, you're smelling blood and you're going after 2 or 3 tonight. Because there's 10 or so games left. There's no guarantee what happens in those rest of those 10 games, but you got to get the bit between your teeth tonight when you start the game like this.
There he is, Nick Marcanic. The only time in the last 2 years that Charleston have lost when he scored a goal was the USL final last year against Phoenix. The team 20 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws in the last 2 years when Marcanic scores.
He doesn't look too happy. He's got himself on the score. He's got himself on the score sheet the first 7 minutes of the game. You thought he'd be grinning ear to ear.
So free kick here for Arturo Rodriguez. Whips this ball back post. Orange County deflects the first. Dos Santos. Chapman. Marcanic. He draws a foul, and it's another free kick opportunity. And some sloppy action here from Orange County in the opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, Orange County just have to settle down a little bit wider. They'll feel frustrated, maybe even feel hard done by. I don't think they have been hard done by. But the last thing they want to do now is consistently make free kicks, giving away fouls. Referee put somebody else into the book, and now they end up going down to 9 men. They already have a big enough mountain to climb. If they can get themselves on the score sheet from a set piece and tie things up and defend exceptionally well, they can still leave the game with something. It's not over yet. But if they let their frustration get the better of them.
Arturo Rodriguez into the hands of Shuttler.
It's a good strike there from Rodriguez, but Shuttler was well positioned. He makes it look far easier than it was. Over the wall, dipping on target, but Shuttler's position in anticipation made it look like a straightforward save.
Another foul. Arturo Rodriguez takes the brunt of this one. Battery matches are the perfect place to make lifelong memories with your friends and family. Your group of 10 or more can enjoy discounted tickets, exclusive on-field experiences, and private hospitality areas to catch the match. Visit charlestonbattery.com to learn more and plan a memorable night at Patriots Points.
And I think this game is just perfectly set up for Charleston to respond to the loss against Louisville. As I said, it's important how they respond tonight, losing against Louisville, and now down to 10 minutes really for them to go out and put out a statement, a very convincing 4 or 5-0 win, which you'd expect in this situation, playing against Orange County at home. Orange County now down to 10 men for the whole game. You'd expect them to go on and really make a statement, and it's aligned perfectly for them to go and do that.
Charleston have annihilated opponents at home this season. They have now outscored foes 33-7 in their 12 home matches this season. And they're also the stingiest defensive team in the Eastern Conference this year, having conceded just 24 times for the season.
Yeah, and I think the leadership on the field, before we even talk about the leadership off the field, is tremendously important into contributing to that. You're looking at Archer, who's approaching 150 USL appearances, Smith 150 USL appearances, Conway 100 appearances. The experience that they have in this level of players who have been there and done it is invaluable, and that alongside the lock-up Mark Canic, some of the younger players who are coming up. It's just a good blend of experience, youth, enthusiasm, and obviously players who are in hot, rich form in their careers right now is leading to a very strong season. But I still think that they're a little bit gutted, a little bit winded about last week's performance and how I wouldn't say easy, but comfortable it was for Louisville, and they want to make a statement going forward.
Charleston look for a second now against this 10-man Orange County group. Allen guides it wide. Torres ropes this ball around, and it goes out for a corner yet again. Orange County will have to do a lot of that the rest of the way. Colin Shuttler's job gets that much more difficult tonight.
It's a good ball there from Torres. Looking for Marcanic making the run in at the far post, but he just wasn't there. And Flood had actually a lot more time than he realized, ended up heading it away for a corner kick when he could have just got it down and kept it in possession there for his team.
This corner kick brought to you by Pepper Law Firm, the official legal services partner of the Charleston Battery. Arturo Rodriguez will line this ball up. Rodriguez boomerangs it in. Marcanic was the closest Battery player to it. Orange County looks to surge the other direction. Mark Segbers cuts off Cameron Dunbar. And another foul, this one in the midfield. Will this be anything more other than a whistle against Chris Hagart?
Yeah, Hagart just has to keep his head on his shoulders here. He makes the foul, picks the ball up, throws it. A bit of petulance with the referees, demanding a little bit of intensity and bite from his teammates, but there's a line that you have to tread, especially when you're down to 10 men.
What is it like as a player when you go down to 10 men 5 minutes in?
I played probably 90% of my career on a yellow card, so a yellow card specialist. I don't know how I did it, but as much as people would try to make you be misled, I didn't really get many red cards. I got a lot of yellow cards. For somehow I just knew how to play the referees when I was on a yellow card.
Marcanic flops this ball in. Conway and Arturo Rodriguez converge. Torres on the right side prefers that left foot.
I would say if there's one thing I very rarely, if ever, got a yellow card for,
Allen all the way across, so Santos was the target.
Was petulance or dissent to the referees. If it was going to be a yellow card, it was something meaningful, a tackle or something along those lines. It wasn't ever a yellow card for just petulance to the referee, and I think that's probably how I avoided red cards, is that I was more on the referee's side than against them.
Orange County start 2 teenagers tonight, 4 players 24 years or younger. It is a little bit of a contrast here with this Charleston Battery group in terms of experience, and it's already showed here at the beginning of this one. Orange County with 10 men the rest of the way, already trailing 1-0 after Dogman picked up a red on a foul of Nick Marcanic inside of the penalty area. And Marcanic would stick in the penalty shot. Michael Watring, Chris Nurse with you. Does Orange County have anything in them? Closing in on 400 minutes without a goal. Owen Lamb. Really only one target that he could have selected from, with Cameron Dunbar, the 21-year-old, in the middle.
Yeah, Lamb has always been good at driving forward, getting crosses into the box, but there's just nobody in there to attack him. They started the game in a 4-1-4-1 formation, and with that red card, they've now gone into a 4-4-1 formation with a few players out of position, trying to fill holes and gaps, given the injuries that they have. So, added to that long list of injuries that they have, Carl Scott, yellow card suspension, you now have Dogman with a red card. Things aren't getting any easier for Orange County, and we spoke about how tight that 8th position is and those remaining playoff spots.
Dos Santos asks for a handball, will not get one. Bryce Jamison had a brace against Colorado Springs earlier in the summer. The youngest player for Orange County to do that, the 19-year-old.
And while I think Orange County have done a great job of identifying talent, giving them exposure and then providing opportunities to ship off to Europe or to bigger clubs, still to be able to attract that talent, you have to be competing, you have to be at the top of the tables. No top talent wants to go and sign for a team that's at the bottom of the table, is not making playoffs. So they still need to maintain the stats that they have. Of course, a few years ago, this was the championship team winning the playoffs, but they got to find themselves being one of the most competitive teams in the league to attract top talents, and in danger of falling away from having that reputation.
Blow the whistle here as Dunbar took a blow to the face.
I think something Coach Hardiman highlighted, that when the senior players aren't necessarily playing with confidence, it's difficult to give those young players exposure. So this also contributes. If you're going to have those young talents that you want to give opportunities to play, develop, and then potentially bounce on to bigger teams, you need your senior players to be in there performing to a high level so that they can, number one, learn from them, be surrounded and protected by them, and kind of guided along their journey. And with the form and the turbulent season that they're having, he's been a little bit hesitant to provide those opportunities to younger players, because you don't just want to throw them into the fire at the same time. While you do want to provide opportunities for them to play, develop, and grow, you don't want to put them into a situation where you know they may not be set up to succeed. So having to probably be a little bit more thoughtful or patient in giving those younger players experience.
And conversely, Ben Pearman talked about the struggles that Orange County have gone on. From an outsider's view, Charleston haven't had a hiccup this season, but he talked about a stretch of 6 games, including the Open Cup, where they only scored once. They were down 2-0 against North Carolina and then scored 5 second-half goals. Understands what Orange County is going through, and he doesn't want to be that team that allows Orange County to reignite that early season fire.
Yeah, and I think Mark Hannick, his goal ratio this season has been spectacular, especially from a winger position where he's not necessarily the number 9 who's central all the time for those goal scoring opportunities. He's scoring these goals as a left-footed winger playing on the right side, inverted. Pretty incredible the numbers he has, and between himself and Myers, Mark Hannick 23 goals, Myers 11 goals. That's 24 goals. No, wait. That's 34 goals. I wasn't the best in maths.
Yeah,
That's 34 goals between these two alone. There's teams right now who haven't scored 34 goals all season in the USL Championship. So from an offensive standpoint, sometimes it's unexplainable how players just have these breakout seasons and completely smash the records. But when you're looking at Myers, it's not an accident. Last year, MLS Next Pro top goal scorer, 11 goals this season, and Mark Hannick is completely on fire right now. So you can kind of connect the dots to where the success is coming from Charleston. And then on top of that, as you highlighted, the best defensive record in the Eastern Conference. So you have the best goal scorers right now and one of the best defensive records. It's an absolute recipe for success.
Leading 1-0 here in the 20th minute. Orange County with 10 men. Ryan Dogman committing a foul in the box. Nick Marcanic converting a penalty moments after that. And in the opening 7 minutes, it was Charleston 1, Orange County 0. That's where we sit right now. And Orange County, having not won a match since July 20th, and despite that, have not moved on the table all that much, sitting in 7th place in the West.
And it was pretty interesting. I think it was Premier League I was watching this morning, and they had the starters, and then instead of calling the substitutes, they were called finishers, which made me think, because Prince Sadie, when he comes into this game, he's a player that would start on most teams. But when he comes into the game, he's definitely a finisher, because he completely adds to the dynamic. He changes the way the team attacks. His ability to pick up the ball, drive, and run at players is probably amongst the best in the USL Championship.
Marcanic curls this around, picked up by Shuttler.
And he just adds to the depth of this Charleston Battery roster. Players that they're able to bring on to finish out games. So the depth, the strength that they have in the players starting and the players who are able to come in and finish the game is Myers is on the bench today. Beaker's come in from Germany, he's on the bench today. Crawford. You look through this roster, and from top to bottom, there's a lot of competition in training. And with the temperatures dipping a little bit over the past couple of weeks, Ben Pearman spoke about the intensity just being able to increase a little bit, giving us a little bit cooler, and players are able to push themselves a little bit harder. So things have been zipping it around a little bit more than usual, but running towards the playoffs, obviously everybody wants to be competing for starting positions in those games.
Here's Mark Segbers. Flag stays down despite appeals for it from Orange County. Allen. Here's Graham Smith that scored the goal in the 2nd minute of second half stoppage time to erase the shutout.
It's cliche, but the speed of play since Orange County have gone down to 10 minutes actually slowed down a little bit in comparison to when it was 11v11. Charleston have a numerical advantage, so there's always going to be players in time and space. If they're able to move the ball a little bit quicker, they're going to be able to break them down. Because Orange County, as you can see right now, are doing a good job of having 2 banks of 4. They have their 4-4-1.
Here's this cross in. It gets headed away. Marcanic again, the target.
They have their 4-4-1 shape, and it's very difficult to make penetrating passes. So the speed that Charleston are able to move the ball is going to be really what breaks them down. But because players have a little bit more time and space, they don't have so much urgency to move it quickly.
Dos Santos. Jay Chapman. Utilizing the space on the right side of the field. Segbers accelerates. Advantage played for a moment. Now they will bring it back for the foul.
Yeah, and this kind of highlights the point I was making. Because they have time and space on the ball, every player is taking 4 and 5 touches before moving it. Instead of moving it in 1 and 2 touches, they're taking 4 and 5 touches because they're not under pressure, slowing down the game. The next player, the same thing. So they're not actually moving the ball quick enough to really break down Orange County's 2 banks of 4. Despite having the numerical advantage, they're not utilizing the ball quick enough or moving it quick enough to create those gaps in their defense.
Lou City has taken a 1-0 edge against Hartford on the road. Taylor Davila scores in the 37th minute.
Davila had that spectacular assist last week.
Every match so important to keep that eye on. Lou City with those games in hand. Charleston looking to make up ground any way they can now that they've played both matches against Lou City this season. They need some help.
And honestly, I'm a little disappointed of how Charleston have reacted right now since going up a man. They haven't really, outside of the penalty kick, they haven't really tested Shuttler that much despite being an upper player. I don't sense that urgency, that bit between the teeth, that determination out there to go and prove a point and turn over last week's defeat. They're playing at home against a team that's 10 players down. Like you'd want to see them on the front foot, aggressive, pressing forward, creating chance after chance. You can see everything is a little bit slow, a little bit similar to last week against Louisville, where they did come out slow. They lost duels. The only difference is that they're having the possession of the ball, but they're not really creating much of it right now.
Had to run 8 straight matches with multiple goals until last week. Rodriguez. Allen. Everything going through the wide areas. Rodriguez has his pass intercepted by Norris. It's good work there by Bryce Jamison. Winning the ball and then drawing the foul. USL Championship soccer continues on the ESPN networks in September with a Western Conference matchup of teams fighting to cross the playoff line. Last season's champ, Phoenix Rising, hosts FC Tulsa. That's Friday, September 6th, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific on ESPN2.
Pedro Guimaraes, one of the youngsters on the bench for Orange County tonight. 16 years old. Hardiman spoke about if they're winning games 3-0, you know, it's a good opportunity to allow him to go in there. But he also elaborated that for the past 3 or 4 years, they've never really been a team that's won games 3 or 4-0. It's always been very tight margins in games. So they've never really been a team that's had that cushion that's allowed them to provide those experiences. Of course, you had Brian Ilowski, Milan Ilowski, who were always top goal scorers in the league individually. But as a collective group, they were never a team that would go out there and smash teams 3-0, 4-0 on a consistent basis. Although there was the odd game where they would win by 4 or 5 goals. It wasn't really a consistent trait.
In the year that they won in 2021, he emphasized there were a lot of 1-0 or 2-0 wins in that window. Always been a team that has had to hunker down, handle things defensively, get the goals when they can.
And I think it's always a great trait of good teams to be able to grind out 1-0 wins, because even on the days when you're not playing well, which is going to be games when you're not going to have when you're not going to be playing well, you still find a way to win 1-0 and keep a clean sheet.
Torres. Norris selects the middle of the park. Dylan Powers. A rare journey forward here for Orange County since going down to 10 men 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, and you know, I don't think Ben Penman will be too impressed with this opening 27 minutes, in honesty. If you're going to be a team that goes on and wins the championship, when you smell blood in those opening 10 minutes, you go after them. And for some reason, they've just dropped off a little bit. As you can see, Orange County are down to 10 men, and there's no pressing. They're allowing them to have the ball. There's no change of speed, as you can see right now when going to close down the ball.
Finally, Dos Santos forces the giveaway.
Driving forward, nobody making runs in behind this Orange County defense. Just a little bit stagnant right now.
Rodriguez. A low lining ball that bounces past everybody on a more of a direct pass, and ultimately it ends up out.
They've got to create better ideas in these situations right now. There's a lot of passing sideways and backwards, then there's a long diagonal ball that goes out for a corner. They've got to find different ways to break down this Orange County defense, whether it's getting the ball out to the wide players, encouraging them to take players on 1v1. They can afford to throw an extra attacker forward with the numerical advantage they have and try to slide balls in behind. But right now for Charleston, their build-up play and their ideas in creating goal-scoring chances hasn't quite been good enough. It's probably a little bit frustrating for the attackers.
They've only had 2 shots, and their last one came 20 minutes ago. Orange County does well to get the ball out to midfield, but ultimately Lamb loses it. He's whistled for a foul.
And this is where we're looking for the leadership from those players who have played 100 games, 150 games. And you're not really seeing it. You're looking at the centre-backs when the ball goes forward, very lethargic, just walking up at a very slow tempo, very comfortable, not really demanding much intensity from the players in front of them. This is where your leaders on the field don't accept those subpar standards and really push the intensity onto the teams. And maybe when you're 3-0 up in the game is when you drop into this kind of mannerism. But I think it's way too early for them to be approaching the game as they are right now.
Segbers. A flood of players inside of the box. No service yet.
With all that being said, I do expect Charleston to be runaway leaders at the end of 90 minutes, because playing with 10 men in the second half, when the players do start to get tired, is going to be very difficult for Orange County.
Dos Santos had the right idea for Torres. Allen turns back on it.
It's very much a training
Chapman
session.
lofts it. Conway settles, and he hits it just over the top. What an excellent ball that was, floating in here for Conway.
Almost like a training session of attack versus defense here. Oh, there's another body down here for Orange County. Conway frustrated with the crossbar, but he had actually a little bit more time to pick his corner with accuracy. He opted for power. And ultimately, a little bit too much power on the ball. It's a great chip over the top here. A great first touch. Slams it with his left foot. Orange County fortunate to see that one ricochet off the crossbar and out of play.
Just past the half-hour mark in this matchup. Charleston 1, Orange County 0. Charleston looking for a 6th straight home win. Orange County looking to score for the first time in a month. But the Battery have a man advantage after Ryan Dogman picked up a red card in the 5th minute of this matchup.
Looks like Lamb, who was struggling there with a little injury. He'll definitely be a player that they want to keep on the field if they're to have some success in these remaining 10 games. Albeit a defensive fullback, he's very, very involved in the attack.
team has scored more in the opening 15 minutes or in the first half this year than Charleston. Looking for more here in half number one. Orange County looking to keep this thing close and just get some kind of opportunity in the next hour to try to equalize.
Frustrating play there from Jamison. He wins the ball, loses it, wins it back, and then passes out a play. They just need to be a little bit more responsible when they do win the possession of the ball. Obviously, they're a man down. It's going to be a long night for them. But when they do get possession of the ball, they have to be productive of it.
Rodriguez spins it for Torres. Rodriguez again to the top of the 18. And now we get a foul on Charleston.
Orange County just have to do a better job of getting pressure on Rodriguez when he picks up the ball just outside the 8-yard box. They're doing a great job having their two banks of four, but as we saw with the dink over the top with the ball for Conway running in behind, Rodriguez has that capability with his on the ball. So you have to get tight to him and force him to make backwards and sideways passes. If you drop off him and allow him to make passes forward and there's runs forward, you're going to get punished. So when they do have their bank of four, they just have to pick the right moments to make sure they're going and putting pressure on players.
Marcanic had his head on that first ball, but not the second. Orange County gets something in transition at some point in this match. Ultimately, they lose it as Dunbar came back as an outlet. Here's Torres. Torres weaves inside. Torres still on the ball. A no-look pass wide for Segbers. Segbers curls it around.
There's a good ball from Torres there to play Segbers in behind. And that's what it's going to come down to. They're going to have to deliver crosses. They're going to have to take shots from distance. They're going to have to be very good at set pieces because Orange County have a lot of players back in defense. And they have to do a better job of just anticipating and winning that second ball when Orange County do win those headers from those crosses.
Here's Torres getting to the right foot this time. Yet again, Orange County denies the first entry pass.
And Torres has consistently been active in this first half, just trying to take players on, trying to play balls in behind, trying to stay active in the attacking third. But he's been a little bit isolated in his approach today. He's very much taking the onus upon himself. But as you can see, very flat from Charleston so far in this opening 35 minutes. I think they count themselves lucky that
Marcanic turns the corner. Not handled all that well initially, and Norris has to chip it away.
I think they count themselves lucky that they got the penalty kick and converted, because outside of that, they've not really created much against the...
Rodriguez again, curls one in.
And Orange County that are far below their best.
Rodriguez immediately steps over to it. Allen, Marcanic. Allen nearly ran into Arturo Rodriguez. Now it's Rodriguez in a spot. Lifts this ball along. It's a good run here. Segbers pokes it over. Conway. Rodriguez. Just too much on that pass. And you wonder if Segbers could have just hit it first time.
Yeah, Segbers just didn't soften the ball when it came onto his chest, and it just ran away from him a little bit. It's smart to try and square it across goal, but again, it starts from Rodriguez having time and space on the edge of the ball to pick his head up and play forward.
Torres blasts this ball, and Shuttler gets a hand on it to guide it over.
It's a great save here from Shuttler. But again, Torres has the time and space on the edge of the box to get the ball out of his feet and release an absolute rocket. With your two banks of four, you've got to put pressure on the ball here, and it's Hegart who's going across to close down Torres, but he closes him down very slowly, not quick enough to really have an impact on the player.
Juan David Torres showed up at a training ground session on a Monday with his family, asking for a tryout, received it, was signed less than 24 hours later. Coming from Colombia, it was a culture shock for a time. But boy, has he started to excel within this group. And he's ready to bring this corner kick in. Brought to you by Pepper Law Firm. Takes it short, straddling the line, Rodriguez. Flies all the way out up top. It is a shot that bangs off of a body from Chris Allen. Segbers. Everybody might have been offside there as it goes all the way out for a goal kick. The Battery are back at Patriots Point in 2 weeks on Saturday, September 7th, facing off against the Western Conference #2 team right now, Sacramento Republic. Tickets are available now via SeatGeek, the Battery's exclusive ticketing provider. Get your tickets now and save up to $10 per seat when you buy in advance. Head to tickets.charlestonbattery.com today. Playing with 10, Orange County hasn't been able to get anything in the attack, but just a 1-goal differential right now. All they need is a little bit of a slippage and a break, and maybe they can get something out of this here. Charleston looks for a second.
Yeah, you have to give Orange County credit. You know, they're down a man, they're away from home in Charleston against a team that's second in the table, and right now they're doing a good job of frustrating them. Take away the penalty opportunity, and you're probably looking at a tight game in the way that things are flowing right now.
This ball comes out. Rodriguez on the volley. Stings the strings and makes it 2-0 for Charleston.
Of course, just when I'm talking about how Orange County frustrating Charleston, Rodriguez pops up at the edge of the box unmarked and hits an absolutely beautiful half volley along the floor into the back of the net. And he's been the player for Charleston that has been trying to break down this back line. If you give a player like that quality at the edge of the box, time and space, he'll punish you. And this time he's not trying to thread the ball for anybody else. He's taking the chance himself, and a very clean strike gives Charleston their second goal of the game.
That header was pushed right back to the top of the 18 where there were 2 players waiting. And Arturo Rodriguez will not miss from that area, and Colin Shuttler not quick enough to react. And Charleston do get their second with about 5 minutes to go in the first half.
I still think that personally, Ben Perman's not going to be content or happy with the performance tonight. Realistically, Charleston have pretty much secured themselves in the playoffs. I don't think it's a case of needing to get 3 points. I think they're very, very content. They're going to be in playoffs. He's going to be more content. He's going to be more concerned with how they're playing and how they're performing. And I don't see right now a team that's performing with the intent or the purpose that can go on and win a championship.
Battery goal with a sparkling finish, brought to you by Diamonds Direct. These are the kind of fouls that you can afford to give up. When you're up a man, it just gives Orange County a chance, A, to breathe, and B, just any level of hope to try to get some numbers forward in the attack. Owen Lamb will step on top of this ball. Lamb winds it up. Handled by Charleston. Torres waits for runners. Segbers. Arturo Rodriguez. I think those are the moments you're talking about. Why not go and attack with veracity rather than just lay it back and comfortably build up now?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You have the man advantage, you have the numerical advantage, and instead of breaking and being ruthless and continuing to punish them, you allow them to get the defensive shape and get behind the ball, and then the build-up's very slow. I would even go as far as saying a little bit lethargic, and you know, they're lacking a little bit of purpose.
Mechanic hunts this ball down. Mechanic takes the foul. This is Andrew Fox getting whistled this time. For Arturo Rodriguez, that was his second goal of the season, his first since March.
Torres can be dangerous from these set pieces. Has the ability to get it up and go over the wall to the goalkeeper's left.
Juan David Torres blasts this ball on top of the netting.
Just a little bit too high, unable to get it to dip underneath the crossbar, but it's one of his sweet spot areas where he likes to try and beat the goalkeeper into that near post.
What a weapon he has become for this group. 3 goals this season. His pass set up Marcanic in the opening minutes to draw a red card and to draw a penalty as well. And the Battery have now scored multiple goals at home for a 6th consecutive match. And they're outscoring teams in that window 19-3.
Yeah, you're looking at their attacking four. Torres, Rodriguez, who we just saw get himself on the score sheet, but also his ability to provide opportunities for his teammates. Marcanic, who's running away with the golden boot this season. Conway is up top, and then you also have Myers on the bench. They have an attacking 4, 5, or 6 players, Sadie to come in off the bench, who single-handedly can win games. And then you have your back 4, and Chapman and Allen sitting just in front of them, who are very capable of keeping clean sheets with a more defensive mindset. They just have a good balance of players and with different skill sets in this roster, but I feel like they have to take a little bit more responsibility on themselves in how they're performing tonight.
Orange County's scoreless drought has now gone over the 400-minute mark. Last time they scored was July 20th against San Antonio 35 days ago. Charleston have held a clean sheet in 7 of their first 11 home matches of this year. And they've been on top of any defensive effort that they've needed so far, which granted has been few and far between. Just 1 shot attempt for Orange County in this match. And it came very early on. Torres springs into action. Conway for Dos Santos.
Don't think we'll see much stoppage time as we approach the end of this first half.
Extra time brought to you by MUSC Health Sports Medicine. 2 minutes of first half stoppage time. Here comes Orange County.
I think Ben Perman goes in at half-time and he demands a lot more from his team in the second half. I think the danger of winning games and performing at this intensity, it can be a false sense of security, because the intensity, the speed of play, the closing down, the pressing, the tempo which they're playing is not at the standard of winning the championship. And I think losing last week and responding like this, I don't think it's just the 3 points at this stage that's important. I think it's more important how they're playing, the intensity, the focus, the determination, the drive and hunger of the team. And I don't sense that hunger for them right now. Despite winning the game, we knew it's not an Orange County team that are really at their best. It really is a team that's suffering from injuries and missing some of their top players through injury. So we knew that was going to be a strong an issue. But we're expected to see Charleston just take a little bit more dominance in the game, in their speed of play, their tempo, their purpose, their intensity. And despite leading the game 2-0, I think there's been a lack of all those characteristics that I'm highlighting.
And look at how the schedule plays out. They go to San Antonio next week. Now, certainly San Antonio not having a very good year this year at all, sitting 11th in the West, but they entered the day just 3 points away from perhaps getting above the playoff line. And it's always difficult to play in San Antonio. Then you come back home to host Sacramento. They're second in the West. Then it's Colorado Springs after that on the road, and then back home for Tampa Bay. So the form needs to be there, and for Charleston, a team that won the Eastern Conference last season. Looking to regain that form that they had at the end of last year. Bobbling ball. And it takes a ricochet, and it is a corner kick for Orange County, and a much needed corner as well. The first one of the match for the visitors. That's another Pepper Law Firm corner kick. This one's for Orange County.
I think this might be the first glimpse we've had of Grimris wearing his breast cancer awareness shirt tonight. 47th minute before we got to mention his name.
Part of the Men Wear Pink campaign to raise awareness and funds to support breast cancer research, services, and education around the screenings for risk reduction. Some of the players wearing pink sweatbands as well. This corner kick wrapping around. Leland Archer gets his head on it. And there's your first half whistle. So 45 minutes down, and it's all Charleston right now. If you're Orange County, what's the message at the break? Down 2-0 and reeling right now with how their season's going.
Yeah, for Orange County, I'm not sure what the messaging is for them going into the break. I think it's an opportunity to put some young players out there, you know, give them a chance to get their feet wet and see what they can do. You never know, they may surprise you. Sometimes you just have to give them exposure, but I think it's going to be a rough night for them.
2 first half goals for Charleston with a man advantage as well. Nick Markanek adds his 22nd of the year. Arturo Rodriguez would add his 2nd of the season. And the Battery are in control at halftime against Orange County, 2-0.
Innovation means training tomorrow's leaders in the latest technologies, because we know the next idea to change the future of medicine may well come from them. At the Medical University of South Carolina, innovation is who we are.
Hola.
¿Alguna otra cerveza?
No, Michelob Ultra.
Ok, ahora vuelvo.
When you know that you're finally home, and that long stretch of road falls behind that line. Won't stop, don't stop, believe and tell me what you want, I want you see it. 'Cause right here, right now, you can be anybody.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. Like in 2005, when lottery proceeds helped purchase new school buses that kept South Carolina students on the road to success. Because arriving safely to school every day is the first important step on their journeys to the careers and lives they've always dreamed of. When you play the lottery, you're helping fund the futures of students all over our state, which is why education is our middle name.
Innovation means developing novel therapies for patients today and taking the first steps toward life-changing discoveries decades in the future. At the Medical University of South Carolina, innovation is who we are.
It's a party in Charleston early. 2 first half goals for the best first half goal scoring team in the league. The Battery lead Orange County 2-0 at halftime. When we come back, we'll look around the USL here on our halftime report. At Patriots Point, 2-0 the score here against Orange County.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
This is the beginning. This is a first practice, a first video session, a first pregame talk. This is a first ticket, a first scarf raise, a first kickoff. This is a tapestry of clubs and players and communities inspired by those who blazed the trail for women's sports, ready to inspire the next generation. We are the USL Super League. We're part of a movement, and this is our moment.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Second go right up through the middle. A shot. Wow! Long range shot from Nordy. Stopped, and that one trickles in.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
Back here in Charleston, where the Battery have a 2-0 lead against Orange County. And the Battery trying to make up ground in the Eastern Conference table, with Blue City also in action tonight. Let's take a look at the news and notes from around the USL. And the ownership group in Louisville has expanded. Jack Harlow purchasing a minority stake in the club, and Blue City also seeing Philip Goodrum score a goal in his club debut in front of the hip-hop artist. And how about a new club record for New Mexico, breaking the club's record for most wins in a single season, 14 of them with 11 games still to go in the season for the top team in the West. The team of the week for week 24 in the USL Championship, Harry Swartz leading the way. Speaking of New Mexico United as the player of the week in the USL Championship, a couple Blue City players leading the way in that group as well. And Loudoun's Hugo Peru was the goalkeeper of the week with his performance last week for a Loudoun team looking to make the postseason for the first time in club history. Time to take a look at the out-of-town scores, brought to you by Charleston International Airport. And how about the score right now in Hartford? Mamadou Dieng tied the score in the 48th minute, and Hartford and Lou City tied at 1 apiece. 20 minutes or so to go there. That would be a +2 for Charleston to close the gap back down to 2 points if that score holds. FC Tulsa leads at Detroit 1-0. Halftime where it's scoreless between Loudoun and Rhode Island, as well as Miami and Tampa. And then the Switchbacks later on tonight play host to New Mexico United. Other scores to look at around the league. All 24 teams in action with 12 games here today. Later on tonight on the Golasso Network, right after us, it'll be Oakland Roots and Memphis. And keeping our eyes on all the activities in both the East and the West. An important matchup there between Sacramento and San Antonio to wrap up the night. If San Antonio are to get to the postseason, they have to start beating some of these teams that are above them on the table. Here in Charleston, it is a 2-0 advantage for Charleston. We'll have the first half highlights, the stats, and the second half kick when we return to Patriots Point.
When we took this job, we knew that the future was the EX90.
A lot of people are excited about it.
We're really happy to see the EX90 on the line.
I'm Tamara Thompson and Rachel Gillum.
My name is Eric Brown.
And the Volvo EX90 was made by us.
L is for the way you look. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore can love. Is all that I can give.
Return to the field. Score the winning shot. Beat your personal record. Team up with MUSC Health Sports Medicine. for all your sports-related injury care and rehabilitation. MUSC Health is the official sports medicine provider for your favorite local teams. From semi-pro athletes to weekend warriors, our sports medicine team provides state-of-the-art injury prevention, treatment, surgery, and rehabilitation for athletes of all ages. Go where the pros go. Schedule an appointment today.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. Like in 2005, when lottery proceeds helped purchase new school buses that kept South Carolina students on the road to success. Because arriving safely to school every day is the first important step on their journeys to the careers and lives they've always dreamed of. When you play the lottery, you're helping fund the futures of students all over our state, which is why education is our middle name.
For the 18th time this season, Charleston has held its opponent without a first-half goal. It's the most that has happened by any team in the USL Championship this year. All things are good here for the Battery in South Carolina. And time to take a look at our first-half highlights rather, from this matchup. And you barely could get settled into your seat before Torres picked out Marcanic and Ryan Dogman committed the foul that drew a red card and opened the door for the Battery to take the lead.
Great run in behind here from Marcanic, but great ball from Torres. Poor defending by Dogman. Sends Marcanic to the penalty spot, and we know what happens next.
Nick Marcanic beats Shuttler, even though Shuttler guessed right, might have had a paw on it as well, just not strong enough to get that ball away, and the fans elated to see a familiar sight with Marcanic scoring. Charleston didn't have a great deal of chances ultimately in that first half. Arturo Rodriguez on the free kick would fall into the hands of Shuttler, but the attack just wasn't overall there for this group until they were able to find a little bit of space in some of these pockets.
And it was Rodriguez who'd been the provider. Great ball over the top there from Chapman. Conway does well to control it, but opts for power rather than placement, ends up smashing this one off the crossbar and out of play.
And then in the 36th minute, it would be Torres yet again finding some space, hitting it well, and Shuttler with an acrobatic stop to deny Torres. But moments later, Shuttler would not be able to deny Rodriguez after a clearance attempt went right to the middle, and Rodriguez salivated over this.
Finds himself in time and space at the edge of the box. Brilliant technique and execution, just drives it hard and low with accuracy into the corner. Gives Shuttler no chance. 2-0 Charleston.
Charleston scores twice in the opening half of play. Orange County having not scored in the last 407 minutes. Just one first half shot. Charleston 7 shots. You'd like to see a little bit more ruthlessness from the Battery, though.
Yeah, I think the speed of play has been very slow and lethargic. They're playing against a team who has 10 men. You really want to take the game to them, and I don't think they've done that so much in this game. Yes, we saw a goal from Rodriguez. Yes, we saw a penalty from Marcanic. But outside of that, it's not really been that entertaining from Charleston in terms of the style of play, moving the ball, creating goal-scoring opportunities. I think the leaders on the pitch have to demand more. I think Ben Perman at half-time will be demanding more, because more so about the result, it's more so about the performance, the momentum, how the team is playing coming towards that postseason, especially coming off the back of last week's defeat. Opportunity to come out with not just a good result, but a fantastic performance in the way they're playing and creating chances, especially against 10-men Orange County, who are not in a great position right now. So the win was expected. More want to see a little bit more from the way that Charleston are playing.
Could be a big night for the Battery. Lou City is down to 10 men. Adrian Perez picked up a red card in the first half. Hartford has tied the game at 1 apiece, and Danny Cruz was just sent off with a second yellow card moments ago. And Hartford tied at 1 against Lou City. If that score holds, it would be a 2-point differential between the two sides down the stretch. Of course, Lou City still with games in hand against Charleston, but certainly the Battery hoping that the Hartford Athletics side can come away with the full 3 points there and get it back down to just 1 point for the Players' Shield with just over 2 months to go in the season. last year, it was Orange County that really controlled the match, and Ben Pierman admitted that it really was Orange County that took it to him last year, really punched him in the mouth at times. Ryan Olosky scoring at 45+1 to start things off. It would be a great free kick goal against Trey Muse to start things off. And then Owen Lamb wrapped things up in the 62nd minute. It's been a different tale here tonight in a place where Orange County has never won. 3 losses in 5 trips with 2 draws here against Charleston. That was last season when these 2 teams faced off. 8th meeting overall here today. And the 2 sides getting ready for the second half of action here in this matchup. Orange County has given up the opening goal now 15 times in 25 matches. They've only won 1 of those, and they've only gotten points from 3 of the 14 times where they've given up the first goal. And it doesn't look like tonight that is going to happen. 9 times they've given up a goal in the opening 20 minutes of play this year. And very much struggling here tonight and just trying to find something out of this matchup. Paul Hardiman talked about this Charleston group. They have to keep their goal scorers and the supply to those goal scorers quiet. That has not happened to this point. 2-0 for Charleston as we're ready for half number 2 here in this contest. The Battery looking to bounce back after a loss. They have not lost back-to-back matches this season. It's happened since the end of last year, September, October of last season. The last time they lost 2 in a row.
It'll be interesting to see the standings tomorrow morning or late tonight. As things currently stand, should Monterey Bay and Phoenix Rising win later this evening, Orange County would find themselves outside of the playoff positions. They currently occupy the last playoff position in 8th position. However, Monterey Bay are behind by just 1 point. Phoenix Rising behind by just 2 points. So should either of those teams win, they will jump above Orange County into the playoff positions, and Orange County will find themselves on the outside.
Michael Watring, Chris Nurse with you here tonight at Patriots Point in Charleston, South Carolina for this matchup. The Battery lead 2-0. Mark Hannick in the 7th minute. Arturo Rodriguez in the 39th is the difference in this one. No changes in the halftime. Orange County playing with 10 men. They've done so since the opening 5 minutes of this matchup. To your point, Chris, I think the West is going to be changing on a week-to-week basis. The West wide open in the middle of the league, and certainly at the bottom as well of that table. San Antonio 24 points. They're second from the bottom, but just 4 points out of playoff contention as it stands.
Yeah, you're looking at all 3 teams there. San Antonio, obviously the surprise team sitting outside of both San Antonio and Phoenix. Given their reputation in previous years, it's surprising to see both of those teams propping up the foot of the table. But if there's anything that you expect from those teams going into these last 10 games, is that they're going to give it everything, because their reputation at stake, obviously the demands of the fans. They've won it previously. There's some of the bigger organizations throughout the USL Championship, so the expectations on them is a little bit higher, and it would be a huge disappointment if they don't find themselves in the playoffs come the postseason. So expect to see all guns blazing from both of those teams going towards the final stretch.
Marcanic holds on to that ball, takes a tumble, and a foul is given. We'll set up another dynamic chance here for the Battery. The good news for Paul Hardiman in Orange County, they basically play everybody in the mix of a postseason spot down the stretch of the season in the Western Conference. They're trying to make something happen, and they end the year with 3 out of 4, including the last 2 at home, to try to make their push to the postseason.
I think the question you asked, though, is watching tonight's game, where do they get their goals from? You know, it's very clear with Charleston. Torres can score goals, Rodriguez can score goals, Marcanic can score goals, Myers can score goals. But when you look at Orange County, you're looking, where do the goals come from for Orange County?
Juan David Torres lofts this ball, back post. Marcanic! Spectacular! What an incredible volley that is to torch the threads and make it 3-0. A brace for North America's leading goal scorer.
'23rd goal for Markanic. Take nothing away. Yes, he's got time and space, but the technique on that strike is absolutely unbelievable. The connection, the eye, the coordination, the venom on the strike. Gives Shuttler absolutely no chance. Brilliant finish from the USL's leading goal scorer, Markanic.
Now alone, third all-time in USL Championship history for a single season in goals. Number 23, 2 off the record pace set by Lou City's Cam Lancaster in 2018 and Colorado Springs Haji Berry in 2021. It's the 5th time this year that he scored multiple goals.
He makes the hardest thing to do in the game look so easy. Scoring goals is the hardest thing to do. You can put some players in front of the goal without a goalkeeper and no defense and they'll still miss the target. Don't ask me how it happens, but he makes scoring goals so easy. You put him in front of the goal, he's clinical, he punishes. It's an extremely difficult finish of what he's just done. Many times you see those fly over the crossbar, the coordination, the timing, the pace on the strike. Markanic is proven to be something special when it comes to scoring goals.
Markanic has only had 1 hat trick in his professional career, and it came when he scored 4 against Las Vegas in April. Long run down the sideline, a bump, and a corner.
And obviously, similar to the first half, Charleston have got themselves on the score sheet in the opening first 5 minutes of the second half and completely have this game under control now. For Ben Perman, I think it's a case of building a little bit of momentum. If I was him, I'd be asking for a couple more goals, keeping players fit and healthy. You're probably now going to start to feed some players onto the pitch that maybe haven't played so much and probably need a little bit more match fitness. I would like to see Prince Sadie come into the game because I think going into the playoffs, he's going to be a big player for them. He's a player who poses something a little bit different in the way he attacks. And he's going to be something that they need to unlock different defenses in different situations as they go forward.
Here's this cross. Torres measures. Wanda V. Torres. There's some spillage here. Loose Dos Santos just mishits it in the end.
Brilliant, brilliant corner kick. I know they're a man down, but leaving Torres in that amount of space inside your 18-yard box is absolutely criminal. It's again Rodriguez. What a beautiful driven pass. Torres does well to keep his eyes on it and connect well with it. Not quite as cleanly as Markanic did, but does guide it on target. Great corner kick throw though from Rodriguez.
Well, expanding on the Nick Markanic conversation, he came out of college from Northern Illinois, where the program had just 3 wins when he first got there. It was really questionable on where his career would end up. Would be drafted by FC Cincinnati, spend 1 year with the organization, mostly at MLS Next Pro, where he'd score 4 times. Played 100+ minutes at the MLS level, and just really struggled to find a little bit of a home with that group. Came to Charleston with Ben Pierman, scored 11 times last year, very much in the shadow of Augie Williams at times. And now that he's been given the job as the main striker of this group, boy, has he paid dividends, and he is blowing away North American competition in goal scoring.
Yeah, and I think it's inevitable that in this kind of form, putting up these type of numbers, he's going to bounce on again to another level. But sometimes you need that manager or that coach who believes in you, provides you opportunities to succeed, puts you in positions where you're going to succeed, and just allows you to explore and create. And obviously, he's been rewarded with the numbers that he's putting up this season, but obviously his head coach is reaping similar rewards in what he's been able to do for this team in the attacking third. So I think it's a combination. Sometimes you just need that one person who believes in you, trusts you, can get the best out of you. And I think it's inevitable that this relationship between Perman and Markanic is reaping rewards this year.
Marcanic at Northern Illinois would score 39 times in 69 appearances for the Huskies. He was the second pick of the second round in 2022 at the MLS Super Draft. Has a brother, Anthony, that's with St. Louis City right now in MLS. After being selected by Colorado Rapids, now he's moved over to Minnesota United. And it's an athletic duo between the two brothers. And Nick Marcanic's journey, Ben Pierman has emphasized it. It's not just his ability to score goals. It's a man that runs about 8 miles per game. He puts in the effort, not just during matches, but on the training ground as well. Has a love for the game. A brace tonight for the 5th time this season, and looking for a second career hat trick with Charleston in control, leading 3-0.
Looks like Hardiman's being forced into a substitution here. Fox looking like he's struggling and is going to need to come out of the game. Another injury to the long list that Orange County already have, on top of suspensions and pending suspensions. When it rains, it pours.
Marcanic's brilliant play, and a goal scored by Nick Marcanic in the 48th minute, presented by Diamonds Direct. That was a terrific volley. Waiting to see exactly what Orange County wants to do here with their changes. And good news if you're a Charleston fan out of Hartford. Mamadou Dieng has scored a second. 84th minute, go-ahead goal. Hartford leads 2-1. And the differential for the Players' Shield is back down to a point as it sits with 5 minutes to go. There's Lou City playing with 10 in that match and without their head coach as well.
This is why I feel like it's very important for Charleston to not just pick up points but play well, because you now see that gap with Louisville City is again closed. So there's an opportunity now for not just to get the home seed in the playoffs. There's now a realistic opportunity again, despite losing last week, to finish first in the USL Championship. The goal, the opportunity is extremely real. So it's important that they're not just picking up points, but they're playing well on top of that.
The 2 games in hand that Lou City has makes the math very difficult for Charleston. And honestly, even if they would have won last week, the math would have been tough. It would have been a 2-point advantage with those 2 games in hand, where Lou City could even draw those 2 and get those extra points and perhaps still hold the Players' Shield in the end.
With 27, 30 points still to play for with 9 or 10 games. But there's opportunity there for an upset as long as they're able to take care of business and win their games. I think they want to keep it as close as they can going into those final stages. For me, I always respect the team that's able to finish #1 over the course of 9 months, and then try and get the cherry on top and win the playoffs.
They met last year in the Eastern Conference Final. Charleston got the better of Lou City in that one. Are they on a crash course again this year? Will it be Tampa Bay? Will it be another team in the East that
and look at it from this perspective. If New Mexico, Sacramento, Charleston, or Louisville didn't win the playoffs, and Monterey Bay or Phoenix or North Carolina won the playoffs, given the disparity in the seasons they had over the course of 9 months, you'd feel a little bit gutted, to say the least. So I think we have to give some credit to the regular season champions and credit to the playoff champions.
Four changes for Orange County. They are going to unload the bench here. It's going to be 4 changes. It'll be Seth Kasipley, Ethan Zubak, Jordan Chavez, and Ashton Miles all coming in. That quartet replaces Owen Lamb, Andrew Fox, Cameron Dunbar, and Chris Hagard. So 4 changes made by Paul Hardiman. How often do you see 4 changes in one swoop? With With a half hour to go and playing with 10 men, almost a necessity to try to get some level of fresh legs on the pitch.
Yeah, I think this is an opportunity for some of those players who are coming back from injuries to now starting them to get themselves some match fitness as they approach this last stretch, because they're going to need them to really give them a strong push. And it's going to take them 2 or 3 games to get that fitness. So whole suite changes going for these last 30 minutes. See if they can bring them a little bit of energy, try to get themselves on the score sheet, at least leave the game with a little bit of pride.
Charleston out in front of this match. Some of the players as well wearing the pink numbers on the shorts. The Battery Courage kit, pink goalkeeper kit for Adam Grinwis tonight. Proceeds benefiting the American Cancer Society's Men's Wear Pink campaign. Flag up for offside. The Battery have a brand new look on and off the field this year thanks to Hummel, the club's official jersey provider. Check out the full line of the new Battery gear, including the custom 2024 kits, visiting shop.charlestonbattery.com. '60th minute of play. It's been all Charleston tonight in this East versus West showdown. Charleston looking to win a 6th straight at home, very much in cruise control against an Orange County team that has not scored in 420 minutes. The Battery getting goals from Marcanic in the 7th, Rodriguez in the 39th, and one more from Marcanic in the 48th. And Orange County down to 5 men, or 10 men since the 5th minute. 5 men would be something I don't know if has ever happened.
Orange County now haven't won in more than a month, I think, since they won their last game.
35 days. They haven't scored in that time either. In fact, they haven't scored on the road since June 22nd. They beat Indy 11 1-0. 2 months since their last road goal.
Be interesting to see how they, well, number one, how they approach the remaining 8 games of this season. I think the next 2 or 3 results will really dictate the decisions going into those last 6 or 7 games, whether it's going to be a case of using those last 5 or 6 games to give young players exposure. If they start to dip in performance and the players that they have, they feel like they're not really going to push for the playoffs, so they want to try and embed those players for next season now and give them a little bit of exposure. Or if they're able to pick up results and really continue their push for the playoffs, I think at some point there comes a time when you start to plan for the following year.
Here's a foul, and I see a red card as well. It's another red card, and this one looks like it's going on Charleston. So we're going to be 10 v 10 the rest of the way.
It's not clear which players received the red card.
Might be Archer, but it initially looked like it was Segbers as well. Archer, the captain.
It's Nakeem who's down on the floor.
I mentioned it earlier, Matthew Corrigan had given up 4 red cards in 10 matches this year. He's now given out 2 tonight. So no referee in the league this year has given out more. Archer's still on the field, so
it's not really clear to see what happened here that warranted a red card.
So it is Segbers.
The only thing I see is a little tug on the jersey, but doesn't look anything dramatic here. It's Nakeem that goes down. A little pull on the jersey, that's it. It's outside the box. Interesting decision there.
I think both have been interesting to go straight reds in these choices. So, well, I think for Orange County, I mean, that's what they needed. They needed a lifeline of some kind.
For the mutual viewer, I think it makes the last 27 minutes a little bit more interesting. Now both teams are playing with 10 men. With Orange County making a number of substitutions, and now they have 10 men. It's going to be interesting if they have a go in these last 30 minutes now. They maybe have conceded it prior, but now things are level pegged again and they have some fresh legs. I feel like they may have a little resurgence of energy.
Nakeem and Flood. Marcus Nakeem strikes this ball and it ricochets off the top of the wall and out for a corner kick. Nakeem.
Bizarre. It was a pretty bizarre situation. Nakeem went down on the floor for a considerable period of time, but you couldn't really see anything that wanted him to go down to the floor, and then at the same time there was nothing clear that indicated the decision for a red card. A little bizarre to say the least.
So we've had a penalty kick, we've had 2 red cards, and Nick Marcanic has added 2 more goals to his ledger. And it looks like we're going to get a few changes here as well for Charleston, with an injured player slowing down play. So the 4 Charleston changes here. MD Myers is going to come in. Robbie Crawford and Emilio Icaza all come in. That trio replaces Jackson Conway, Arturo Rodriguez, and Chris Allen.
It's like a head injury. Indicated for Conway. Bad news for Orange County is that Myers comes in, who has 11 goals so far this season. So the goal threat increases a little bit.
Myers, 23 years old. And goals in back-to-back matches prior to last week. Top 5 in the league in goal scoring entering the week. So now Ryan Flood will line this ball up. Orange County have very much been out of this game for almost the entire match. Still down 3-0, but back on level terms for the first time in an hour. Flood whips this ball back post. Archer wins the header. Nearly collided with the left post. Somehow avoided it, and Charleston swing it back up the field.
Decent corner delivery there from Flood. Was really interesting to hear Myers talk about switching from MLS Next Pro to USL Championship. One of the factors that factored into his decision-making was he felt like in the MLS Next Pro he was competing against youth players or younger players, whereas in the USL Championship he's competing against men and experienced professionals, and that was the next step he felt like he was ready to take in his career, and Charleston was a place that could provide him with that platform, and he's shown that he can continue to score goals irrespective of what tier he's playing at.
And certainly 2 of the better goal scorers in this league are on this Charleston side, and they're both still very young in their early 20s. And Myers has been a goal scorer everywhere he's gone, from college, Next Pro, to the USL Championship. Maybe the field isn't as slanted as it has been all night tonight. Orange County's shot from Nakeem was the first shot that they had attempted in an hour. Here's Flood. Flood flies this ball around. Grinwis clutches it.
Good goalkeeping there from Grinwis. If he doesn't hold on to that, there's an Orange County player right there at the back post waiting to tap it in. Some good play from Flood there, breaking down the left-hand side and delivering that cross. Probably one of the few times that we've seen Orange County break into the attacking third in this game.
The USL League One matchup kicks off September coverage on the CBS Sports Network. Players Shield holder Union Omaha visits newcomer Spokane Velocity in their first ever regular season clash. September 4th, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on the CBS Sports Network. Adam Grinwis' night may become a little bit more active the rest of the way, as this Charleston club leads the way with 12 clean sheets in the USL Championship, looking to shut things down here tonight. And to update things from Hartford, it is final. 2-1 Hartford upends Lou City, and I'm not sure that anybody had that on their bingo card, with Hartford sitting second from the bottom in the East. So the differential as it sits is back down to 1 with 2 months to play for the Players' Shield in the USL Championship.
Also interesting as always, Bob Lilly's Pittsburgh picking up a 2-0 win tonight. They currently sit outside of the playoff position by 3 points. However, if they're able to pick up a run of form, you go on a run of 3 wins in a row, pick up 9 points, you quickly find yourself back into those middle pack of playoff positions. So they're not a team to be underestimated. Of course, Bob Lilly runs a very tight ship over there.
Myers heads it wide.
A team that's consistent in previous years, I say, competed for the number 1 position. Definitely a playoff contention team. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can continue this resurgence, provide some upsets going into this final stretch. Rhode Island, who have been on a rich streak of form currently, tying 0-0. Just over 15 minutes remaining in that game with Loudon.
.20 minutes to go. Charleston 3, Orange County 0. It all started with a red card issued to Ryan Dogman in the 5th minute. Nick Marcanic scored the penalty goal after the red. Arturo Rodriguez in the 39th, and then Marcanic with another highlight reel goal in the 48th. And the Battery lead. Mark Segbers picked up a questionable free card in the 62nd minute. And we're playing 10v10 the rest of the way. Michael Watring, Chris Nurse, and our team with you tonight. Thanks for tuning in here on CBS Sports Golasso Network and others.
I said one of the keys to Orange County potentially being successful tonight was going to be the ability to keep a clean sheet. I think once they went down to 10 men and conceded that penalty in the opening 5 minutes of the game, I think it was always going to be downhill from there, and it's proven to be that so far tonight. If they'd have been able to keep keep 11 players on the field, keep a clean sheet, there was always going to be the opportunity to salvage something from the game. However, they didn't get off to a great start.
Here's Torres. It's MD Myers. That ball just does skip away from him. Back on it, Robbie Crawford. Crawford cuts it back. Myers pokes it, and it trickles past Shuttler. MD Myers scores for the 3rd time in 4 matches. It's 4-0 Battery. And it's a Diamonds Direct dazzling play.
And Myers knows himself that he can thank Crawford here that he got a second bite of the apple, because his first touch let him down the first time. Great play again from Torres, finds him. His first touch lets him down, the ball runs away from him. Crawford stays alive, drives to the end line, cuts it back. Easy finish from Myers in the end. And Shuttler almost got there because there wasn't much pace on the ball when he guides it in. But he'll be happy to have picked up his 12th goal of the season. Both top scorers in this team getting themselves on the score sheets tonight. Myers, Marcanic. It's hard for Ben Perman not to be happy with the performance given the result, but still think he's always going to have that pursuit and demand for more.
MD Myers, 12 goals this season after 19 a year ago in New York and 13 the year before that with Rutgers. May not be the most resonating strike of his career, but it's a fourth nevertheless for a Charleston side that is now outscoring teams at home 36-7 for the season. Talk about a fortress, and that's what makes that Players' Shield battle even more interesting. Lou City's incredible at home. Charleston's unbelievable at home. Only one of the two can have home field advantage in the East.
That's why I think finishing #1 is so important, to have that advantage. You know, Louisville sell out that stadium, 13,000 fans for those big games, and that it's almost like having an extra player on the field with you for those big moments. So that is definitely gonna be a factor in those big games.
Here's a chase from Ikaza. Emilio Ikaza sprinting. Emilio Ikaza cuts it back. Marcanic powers this with a right foot. It ripples the rope, and it's a hat trick for the leader in the USL Championship in goals. His 24th of the season.
Now we get a smile. Now we get a smile. He's got his hat trick. 2 with his left foot, 1 with his right foot. And things actually have gotten worse for Orange County since Charleston went down to 10 men. Once things got leveled up, Charleston seemed to have stepped it up a gear and have gone on to be even more relentless. And it's the substitutes that have come in and impact the game. It was Crawford earlier providing the service to Myers. This time it's Ikaza, drives forward into the same area, takes his time, picks out Marcanic inside the box, composure, takes it onto his right foot on this occasion, slams it into the roof of the net, giving Shuttler no chance in getting his 3rd goal of the game. I spoke about it earlier. I said if you're looking at this Orange County team and they're down to 10 men and you're a striker who wants to get that golden boot, you want your hat trick in today's game, and Marcanic has done exactly that tonight.
Marcanic 1 goal away from the all-time single season record. And this brilliant play by the Battery, it's Marcanic's 3rd goal of the night, presented by Diamonds Direct. It's his 2nd hat trick of his pro career. Had 4 against Las Vegas on April 27th.
And again, he makes it look so easy. He makes scoring goals look so easy. The hardest thing to do in the game of soccer is scoring goals, and he makes it look so easy.
Orange County did make a change after that. Christian Sordo comes in and replaces Ben Norris. And another booking coming here, and it's the first yellow card of the night. And it goes to Seth Kasipli. We've had 2 red cards, and now our first yellow comes here in the 77th.
I was about to say I thought the referee forgot his yellow card and was just dishing out reds every time, but it's in there somewhere.
Marcanic, a 2-time MAC Player of the Year in college, scored double-digit goals once in his collegiate career. And we will not see history equaled tonight. Marcanic's night is over. He's replaced by Prince Sadie. And the other change will be Josh Drack coming in to replace Nathan Dos Santos, but a standing ovation here for Marcanic, who puts himself in prime position to set the all-time USL Championship record in the next couple weeks. Maybe even next week.
Second half has been a lot better from Charleston. It's been a 10-man dominant display, and you're already 5-0 up, and then you bring in Sadie. Now they're starting to bring it together like a team that can really go and do something special.
County does make another change, and they bring on a young man that they just acquired not too long ago, an MLS Next All-Star, Pedro Guimaraes, the 16-year-old who was with the LAFC Academy for the summer playing an MLS Next Cup, and now is another one of those youngsters that makes his professional debut tonight.
Yeah, there's moments when you can give young players debuts, and either when you're winning the game by 3-0 or you're losing by 5, and there's nothing more to lose. And unfortunately for the young man, he's getting his debut when he's losing by 5, but undoubtedly it's going to be valuable minutes that he's going to remember long time away from now.
Flood comes out. Let's see how the end of this matchup will happen. Well, there's another ball on the field, and it certainly felt that way for Orange County's defense this evening, giving up 5 goals to the second best goal-scoring team in the league this year. Well, Orange County closing the gap on the points as well as the goal total. 61-56 now, Lou City in goal scoring. Select is the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice.
Yeah, Charleston will actually jump above Louisville City with this win for goal differential. Despite scoring 5 less goals, they've actually conceded 6 less. So they'll be on plus 32, with Louisville City sitting on plus 31. In comparison to the two teams at the top of the West, who only sit on plus 5 and plus 12. Definitely a lot more goals scored in the Eastern Conference this year.
This ball weaved back. Colin Shuttler had done such a good job the last couple weeks of defending, but it has not been the night tonight for this group. Prince Sadie. Sadie spins around, falls to the ground, no foul. What a luxury it is to have a player like Sadie coming off of the bench and be one of those finishers you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah, just brings a completely different dynamic to the attack. He wants to get the ball 1v1, he wants to drive, he wants to take players on, and he has quality when he gets into that final third.
Foul whistled. Another change for Charleston. It'll be Samuel Bayek replacing Leland Archer. What a difference a week makes after being silenced by Lou City. It is a great performance tonight, and Ben Pierman, although it might have been a little bit of a cliche talking about last week and the fact that it was just a 90-minute window, I think it is a valid point. The game can change any 90-minute window that comes, and last week might just be a blip on the radar with their performance tonight, and like you said, much better here in the second half.
Yeah, the second half has been much more what we expected. The first half, yes, they did win, but I don't think they played exceptionally well. The second half, they played with a lot more purpose, a lot more dominance. It's 10 versus 10. For some reason, when they had the man advantage, they were not playing so well, but since things leveled up, it's something changed, and goals moving a little bit quicker, a little more fluid, creating more goal-scoring chances, and also finishing it.
Foul whistle. It gives us a chance to remind you, If you can't watch the match, turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157, the new Sirius XM app. Prince Sadie gallops into space. Sadie wants to join the goal-scoring party. Hops around this one, flies it around. Myers was the closest to it.
Good play there from the youngster, Pedro. Guimaraes there, first couple of touches on the ball, keeps his team in possession. As we mentioned, just 16 years old. Signed out of LAFC's MLS Next team. Playing in the USL Championship now.
For Charleston, it is the 4th time this season that they've scored at least 5 goals in a match. Now have a plus 30 goal differential at home this season. Meanwhile, for Orange County, the 5 goals that they've allowed are the most that they've conceded this year. Here's Myers, cradles for a moment. Ultimately, it goes back to Shuttler. Hefty on the touch. Myers harasses. Not long enough to get the ball away.
Whilst Charleston are in extreme comfortable situation now, there's remaining 5 minutes. I still think there's more goals we're going to see in this game. I think Sadie's looked hungry since he's come into the game. Torres still looks very lively. Myers looks like he's hungry to get goals. Still think there's a few more goals left in the remaining 6 or 7 minutes of this game.
It's the most goals that Orange County have allowed since the Western quarterfinals in 2019 against the eventual champs Real Monarchs, when they gave up 6. Here's a dance move. Here's a whipping cross that goes all the way around to Crawford. Torres doesn't get the curl that he would have wanted as it goes into the seats.
Yeah, inside the box. Works his feet, does well to get half a yard of space to get shot off, but just it was always rising. Just needed to curl it into the corner. A little bit too much elevation on the strike.
Goes Jamison. Had a little bit of an angle at first and just runs out of space. And I think misjudged the bounce as well.
Yeah, it was a good diagonal run inside from Jamison, but just unable to get the ball under control, and Charleston able to recover it fairly easily.
Kasipli lines it up. Grinwis wants to get that jersey a little bit dirty for whatever fan is going to bid on that and win it.
Always looked like it was going wide of the target there. Grimwis gave the strike a little bit more credit than it maybe deserved.
Well, tonight for Charleston, this is match number 26. It's the 7th time they've scored at least 4. Myers wants to make it 6. MD Myers right into the clutches of Shuttler.
Great chance there for Myers to make it 6. Brilliant ball in behind from Torres. Myers times his run exceptionally well, jinks the defender and gets it onto his left foot and creates the space for the shot, but just is unable to bend it into the far corner and hits it straight down the center into Shuttler's hands.
Three second-half goals tonight. That's 32 second-half goals by Charleston this year. A hat trick from Marcanic. Rodriguez and Myers have added the others. 10v10 we go. On the overlap, more space, springing to action. Crawford's the target. Guimaraes sends it away. Myers holds it up. Torres, no looks. Myers swings it around. Myers toe pokes it in. It's a brace for MD Myers and a 6th goal of the night for the Battery. Scoring for fun this evening.
And again, it's Torres who has a huge role to play in this. I told you there was going to be more goals. Myers looked hungry. He's had a few strikes, but this one made no mistake. Starts with Chapman here. Torres, little running behind, little flick over. Takes it past the goalkeeper. Tight angle, and he still finds a way to guide it back into the back of the net. Myers gets his 2nd goal of the night, despite coming on as a substitute in the final 20 minutes. He's looked hungry, he's looked determined, and he's got the rewards.
And 4 second-half goals for this group. MD Myers ups his tally to 13. Charleston has matched a season high when they put up 6 in a 6-0 win at home against Las Vegas.
And it's difficult to put your finger on what it is, but when Charleston had the numerical advantage, they were not moving the ball this quickly, they weren't pressing aggressively, they weren't creating as much goal-scoring chances. Now it went to even numbers again, 10-10. It's a complete different tempo and purpose and intensity they're playing with. This second half has been absolute dominance from Charleston, and this is what we expected to see from the first whistle. It took them a half to get going, but they definitely got going, and we're seeing some of the best attacking in the league right now, and Sadie's on the move forward again right now.
MUSC Health Sports Medicine sponsors our extra time. 2 more minutes. Torres lifts this ball in. Doesn't get the angle to it in the end.
If it wasn't for Marcanic's hat trick, I think Torres would definitely be competing for man of the match tonight. He's been on a rich streak of form, and again, he's been involved in everything positive going forward for Charleston again tonight. And look, 90th minute, and look, he still have it there, 6-0 up, and look at the intensity he's still pressing and closing down with. I think he has a very impressive Torres so far, very impressive.
The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Well, the social team for Charleston are going to have some work to do tonight. Editing these clips. High header, second header, and it goes out. Grinwis aggressive, and it almost cost him with Zubac firing in. eFootball 2024 is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download it now.
Yeah, I think Grinwis and Charleston defense would be raging if they didn't leave with a clean sheet tonight. Obviously, the strikers have their goal bonuses, but the defense normally have their clean sheet bonuses, so I'm sure they want to protect this going into the last 5 minutes of the game. Less than 5 minutes. It's actually time.
This ball bounces around, goes to Grinwis. And there's your full-time whistle. A dazzling performance tonight from Charleston, pulling back within a point for the Players' Shield lead. Marcanic's hat trick, Myers' brace, Rodriguez adds another, and it's a season-high matching 6 goals for Charleston and a league-leading 13th shutout.
I don't know about dazzling, but I will say dominant, but Orange County were poor. But Charleston did, as we expected, prior to kickoff. But this man, Marcanic, was something spectacular with his hat-trick tonight.
Nick Marcanic is tonight's Heineken Man of the Match. That second one will live on the highlight reel for a man that moves into second all-time in Charleston history for single-season goals. Only Paul Conway in 2001 is left to catch, 3 behind him. Excellent effort tonight from Nick Marcanic and company, and quite the bounce back for the Charleston Battery. They'd gone 7 years without scoring 6 goals in a match. They've now done so twice this season, and a victorious evening for Charleston Battery, winning it 6-0 against Orange County. We'll step out for a quick break. When we come back, it's the full-time highlights from a winning night for Charleston here in the Low Country. Stick with us. You'll want to see all of these highlights when we come back.
This is your vacation, your beach, your fields of green, skies of blue, mountains of majesty. You're an athlete. You're obsessed. You're in love. You're in pain. Spirit drained, in agony, fighting gravity. Because you made a commitment to yourself and others to work on your game, build your frame in blazing heat, exhausted and beat. Because when you refuse to yield, your spirit is revealed. You are an athlete. MUSC Health Sports Medicine.
Hola.
¿Alguna otra cerveza?
No, Michelob Ultra.
Ok, ahora vuelvo.
The final score is brought to you by Wicked Weed, and it was a wicked good performance tonight from Charleston. 6 goals, 4 in the second half, in a drubbing of Orange County tonight. They had a man advantage for 60 minutes, played 10v10 for the final 25, and it all got started in the opening 5 minutes. Torres to Marcanic, and an early red card.
Yeah, poor defending here from Dogman. Gets himself a red card. Dubious, should have been a yellow-red. Definitely a penalty kick. And you give Marcanic the ball. Marcanic does what Marcanic does.
Full-time highlights brought to you by Michelob Ultra. Marcanic scores for the 15th different game in the 8th time in 10 matches. There would be some chances for Charleston. I'm not sure that they were all that ruthless in the first half, but they added a second in the 39th minute.
Clinical strike from Rodriguez here. Technique, drills it hard on the floor with accuracy into the corner. Doesn't really give Shuttler a chance. 2-0.
How about this finish? Torres firing it in. Marcanic, nobody marks him, and what a great scissor shot that is.
Incredible technique here. Keeps his eye on the ball, power, execution. Both feet are on the floor, off the floor when he strikes it. Marcanic is on fire this year.
Excellent strike there, and Charleston would be halfway to their tally. MD Myers looked like he had a clean chance. In a little bit of a mess, but Robbie Crawford cleaned it up, and Myers would funnel this one around Shuttler.
Yeah, Myers' touch got away from him on the first attempt, but Crawford managed to keep the ball alive, feeds him a second time. Myers makes no mistake.
Minutes after that, Marcanic would add his second career hat trick. This ball resounding again. He did not get cheated out of his goals tonight.
Yeah, Marcanic here, right foot, left foot, volleys, headers, penalty kicks. Anywhere you want to give him the ball, he'll find a way to find the back of the net.
And then Juan David Torres, look at that pass, looks away. Myers does the rest of the work, toe poking this ball in and making it 6 goals tonight. Your assessment of both sides in the full 90.
I was critical of Charleston in the first half, but the second half they really came out and performed, and I think that's the dominant performance that they need to go from the first whistle, because going into the playoffs, you don't get a first half to play at such a tempo. You have to come out guns blazing from the first whistle. So I think they want to sustain that second half performance from the first whistle. For Orange County, they were poor before the game started. They were poor during the game, and I think they have some work to do going into the remainder of the season.
Full-time stats brought to you by Heineken. Tell the tale tonight. 10 of the 16 shots on target for Charleston, and half of those shots on frame. Actually, more than half, 6 of the 10 found the net this evening. A hat trick from Marcanic, a brace from Myers, and it is Charleston scoring a season-high 6 goals at Orange County, allowing their most goals in 5 years. A delightful performance for the Battery, back within a point for the players' shield tally, and now the best goal differential in the league. And oh, by the way, a 13th shutout for the season to lead the league. For my partner tonight, Chris Nurse, and our entire crew, it's been great to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Michael Watrang signing off. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.